Today is Monday, October 13th, 2025, and I have updates on 3 cases. Let's start with the easiest one. That is Stan Romanek's case. The state was required to file their reply brief to Stan's appeal a few weeks ago. They didn't do that, so they asked for an extension and were granted an extension to file their reply brief in December now, the middle of December. So I'll update you on that. As soon as the reply brief is filed, I will let you in on what it says and what the state is saying to try to excuse themselves from what they've done to Stan Romanek. The second case to update you on is my lawsuit against Sheriff John Feyen. My petition for writ at the Colorado Supreme Court was filed. John Feyen did not answer the petition. He did not file anything in response to my petition for writ. I don't even know what to say about that. It's nothing new. John Feyen for years he's acted like he's above the law, doesn't need to answer court documents. Who knows? I'll let you know when the Colorado Supreme Court rules on my petition for writ, because we are obviously not waiting for Sheriff John Feyen to participate in this particular case. I also have an update on the lawsuit against Sheriff Justin Smith. Also at the Colorado Supreme Court level, the attorney for Justin Smith, as you probably know if you've been following this case, is under investigation by the Colorado Supreme Court Office of Attorney Regulation Counsel. He's been under investigation for many months. We expect to have a decision from the Colorado Supreme Court Office of Attorney Regulation Counsel sometime in October. If that date changes, I'll definitely update you on the progress of that case against Brian Reynolds. In the meantime, Brian Reynolds filed a motion to strike a portion of my petition for writ. Brian Reynolds has done this before. He does not like the public to know that he is being investigated by the Colorado Supreme Court, so he tries to get rid of as much of the facts against him as possible. So I filed my response to Sheriff Justin Smith's attorney's motion to strike. Did that today. I also filed a response to Sheriff Justin Smith's opposition to my petition for writ. And I'll post those on as links, like I always do. But I did want to let you know just basically what Justin Smith is claiming. So Justin Smith is claiming to the justices of the Colorado Supreme Court that the public doesn't care about this case. There is no significant public interest in a sheriff who broke the law for, we're going on 2 decades. We've turned that corner. And Sheriff Justin Smith says that nobody cares that his attorney is being investigated by the Supreme Court for destroying evidence and for blocking my access to discovery. So Smith says nobody cares. Justin Smith also says this is not a significant legal issue. So the significant legal issue that is at stake in this lawsuit against Sheriff Justin Smith is whether it is legal for a defense attorney to destroy evidence of his client's guilt. That's the legal issue that Sheriff Justin Smith just doesn't matter. Smith also says through his attorney Reynolds that there is no conflict in this case with legal precedent. What that means is that there are many, many cases, black letter law in the state of Colorado, that allows Brian Reynolds, as Sheriff Justin Smith's defense attorney, to shred evidence, block access to discovery, call me names in the courtroom. Smith is actually saying there's no precedent. This is not a precedent-setting case, meaning that there are already cases that approve all of that nefarious behavior. And finally, the one of the oldest tricks in Justin Smith and John Feyen's book is that they accuse me of misrepresenting the facts. Well, that's why we're here in the first place, because John Feyen and Justin Smith took their crimes that they committed, twisted them, and lied about me so that John Feyen could be elected as sheriff of Larimer County. I have never misrepresented the facts in any case, not my case, not any other case. I use public records, official court transcripts, official court documents, police records, official police body cam. I use all of that to prove that what I say is true. Now, what did Brian Reynolds specifically do to try to deceive the justices of the Colorado Supreme Court in his filings in the case at the Supreme Court? What did Brian Reynolds do? Well, what he's actually trying to do is deceive those justices, because maybe Brian Reynolds has gotten away with it for his career, his entire career. He has won cases because he's, in his words, shredded the direct evidence of clients' guilt. Maybe he's just gotten away with it. I don't know. But what Reynolds is trying to convince the justices is that 6 hours of Brian Reynolds' actual behavior that is on video, taken by a professional official court reporter, Reynolds is trying to convince the Supreme Court that none of that matters, and that I simply made up what is on those videotapes. And if that were true, if it is true that I made up what was on those videotapes, then the Colorado Supreme Court would not be investigating Justin Smith's attorney, Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds is trying to convince the Colorado Supreme Court justices that District Court Judge Stephen J. Jouard's order for contempt simply doesn't matter. And in case you've forgotten, when you have an attorney, as Justin Smith has, that attorney is you. That attorney is speaking as if you are that attorney. You cannot separate what Brian Reynolds is doing from Justin Smith. Justin Smith is fully in control of what Brian Reynolds says and does. That's how the client-attorney relationship works. Brian Reynolds is not acting independent of Justin Smith. Justin Smith knows what Brian Reynolds is trying to get away with. And again, this is nothing new. Since 2010, Sheriff Justin Smith has been breaking the law, flaunting it, lying about it, and covering his own ass and John Feyen's ass.